What's up, guys? It is Carly here bringing you episode number 18 of my entire horror movie collection. I actually have a really bad headache right now, but I wanted to make this video because I did not make one last weekend and I don't want to completely slack, so I figured I would move it along and get this out of the way. So I'm going to go ahead and get right on into it. And we left off with the VHS at I Still Know What You Did Last Summer here. This is actually like a clamshell type of deal here, and honestly, I have not watched this in years. Since finding it again, this is one of the ones that I found at my mom's place and just kept it, but I haven't watched it or popped it in or anything to see if it still works. And I noticed right off the bat that it's like really dusty inside here as well as on the VHS tape itself, so I'm not even sure if this would still work. Probably if you clean it off it would be okay, but like I said, I haven't rewatched it because I have the movies on DVD anyway, so it kind of seems pointless, especially for a movie like this. You know, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. I used to really like it when I was growing up. Upon rewatch, I could see why people see it as pretty bad. The first one's not even that great, but the second one is pretty you know, cheesy, and the whole like idea behind it's kind of cheesy and just a little bit funky, but I still watch it. I still find it to be enjoyable, but I definitely like the first one better. After that, we have Jaws here on VHS. This is another one that I have not watched in years. I actually don't even remember ever watching this. It was one of the ones I found at my mom's place, so I probably have watched this on VHS, but I just don't really recall. I haven't popped it in or anything since finding it, but with that being said, Jaws, honestly, this is becoming one of my favorite horror movies of all time. I know a lot of people don't consider it horror, but I feel like it definitely has intent to scare you in it with this giant shark and just the theme music and things like that. It definitely, like, I've seen this in theaters twice now, and I've really appreciated it more and more just by getting that experience. And I could definitely see, you know, it's more of an adventure slash comedy type of deal slash thriller, but you know, I could definitely see it as a horror movie, and I really enjoy this movie. Like I said, I haven't popped this VHS in either. It's kind of in crappy condition, but I'll have to put it in one day just to see if it still works. But yeah, Jaws. After that, we have Jeepers Creepers. Actually don't own this on any other format but VHS, and I've had this one since I was really young. I have good memories with Jeepers Creepers because the first time I saw it, it was a new movie. It was when it was brand new. I think, what's this from, like 2001? Yeah, so I was like 4 or 5 or whatever, and my babysitter actually showed me this, and the title by itself, I didn't think it was going to be an actual horror movie. I thought, like, oh, she's probably just showing me some little kid's version of a horror movie because I was young and she knew I liked horror movies, but I didn't think she would actually show me a real legit horror movie. And just the title Jeepers Creepers sounded kind of goofy to me, like it would be some goofy monster movie or something like that, but it really scared me back then because I was not expecting that. So good memories with this one. I've always really enjoyed this movie, and I still do to this day. It still holds up for me, so yeah, pretty cool one to have in the collection on VHS. And then right after that, we actually have Jeepers Creepers 2, which I recently picked up at a Goodwill on VHS just this past year, and it's in pretty solid condition. It looks like the person who had this really didn't watch it all that much or anything like that, so that's kind of why I picked it up. And once again, I don't own this on DVD or Blu-ray or anything like that, so this is the rare case where I have both the movies only on VHS, and I'm fine with that. I really enjoyed this one as well. I definitely like the first one a little more. This one it's got a different vibe to it because it's dealing with more people as opposed to 2 main characters who are going through this issue, so I feel like that takes out the creepiness to it a little bit, and also it's just a little more of a fun movie. It's got a funner tone to it where the first one's kind of very dark and gloomy, but either way, I find this one to be very enjoyable as well, a very fun movie that I continue to pop in from time to time. After that, we have Man's Best Friend. This is another one that I recently picked up, and I was really surprised by this one. I actually really enjoyed it. It's kind of a horror comedy, which I was surprised by. I thought it was going to be just a straight dog horror film, kind of like Cujo or something like that, but It's horror comedy, like I said, and there actually were some parts that made me smile or laugh a little bit, so I found it to be pretty fun and enjoyable, and also there's some, kind of gory-ish parts with the dog itself, so it does a good job of mixing horror and comedy together, and like I said, I was really surprised by this one because it's one that I never really even knew about. I definitely have heard the title before, but it's not one that I would have ever thought to pick up, but seeing it at Goodwill, I decided to grab it, and I'm glad I did, because like I said, it was pretty good. After that, we have the Mothman Prophecies. To be completely honest, I found this to be really boring, besides like the ending bridge scene. I thought that to be pretty creepy, but for the most part, I was kind of bored by this, which is a little disappointing, because I remember when I was younger, my aunt would always talk about this one. She kind of hyped it up and thought it was really, really creepy and things like that, and it is creepy in a way, the story behind it and things like that, but besides that, I don't know, I was just a little bit bored by it, and it's just not my favorite, but yeah, it's in the collection either way. After that, we have Omen 3. This is another one that I really couldn't get into all that much. I believe JP gave me this one for Christmas a year or two ago, and cool one to have on VHS. I'm not big on these Omen films, really, and this one I just had, I struggled to pay attention to it. I would like to rewatch it again just to give it that second chance, but for now it's just kind of in the collection, not one that I really want to run back to. Then we have the Omen 4, The Awakening. This is the one with the little girl, and I actually enjoy this one. I used to watch this one on TV. They used to put it on like Sci-Fi or Chiller or something, one of those channels that plays horror movies a lot back in the day, and I would always watch it. It's a TV movie, I believe, oddly enough, for an Omen film, and like I said, it follows a girl character instead of a boy in this one, so it's kind of a different type of deal going on here, but I actually found this one to be pretty entertaining. I rewatched it, didn't like it as much, but it was still decent. I could see why some people wouldn't like it because it's kind of its own thing that strays away from the other Omen movies, but I found it to be pretty enjoyable. After that, we have The Others. This is one that I used to watch on TV a lot as well when I was younger, and I don't know how I did that, honestly, because this is not my cup of tea nowadays. It's a very slow burn movie set like back in a later time period, which I don't even think I realized that when I was younger. I thought it was like set in recent times because I'm stupid, but like, yeah, it's pretty solid, honestly. It's not one, I rewatched it recently, and once again, it's not one I would really run back to nowadays as opposed to when I was younger, and I think just because they replayed it a lot on TV, I would always just kind of sit through and watch it just to have something playing in the background while I played or something like that, but it's got a decent story and a pretty nifty twist at the end, but other than that, it is a slow burn and kind of has a depressing vibe to it, so it's not one that I would really go back to for fun purposes, but I had to pick it up just for the nostalgia of it being something that I used to watch quite a bit. Then lastly for this part, guys, we have The People Under the Stairs. This is not one that I grew up watching, but oddly enough, it's one that I would always see at the video store. We used to have an awesome Hollywood Video around where I lived that is now, unfortunately, a furniture store, but I used to love going there, and this is one of the movies in the horror section that I would always see the cover, and it always just really kind of creeped me out, and as well as the tagline, it says, "In every neighborhood, there's one house that adults whisper about and children cross the street to avoid." I always thought that tagline was just pretty awesome and pretty bone-chilling, so I think I didn't pick it up just because I thought this was going to be a really scary movie back then, but if you've seen this movie, you know it's kind of more of a fun film with some dark aspects to it, but it's not nearly as dark and terrifying as I imagined. But with that being said, it's a very fun movie and definitely one that I'm glad that I finally watched. Wish I would have seen it when I was younger, but with that being said, it's one that I'll definitely go back to from time to time as well. So yeah, guys, that is it for this part of my entire horror movie collection. Once again, as always, hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you hopefully next weekend with part 19.